So we've talked some about Genesis here, some of the covenant context there, and these family lines. One of the interesting characters in Genesis is Jacob, and you've got
Hmm.
some of these interesting theophanies or something like this. What term you want to use? I won't put words in your mouth, but
Yeah.
with Genesis in 28, where uh, he sleeps and he sees a dream. And then you've
Yes.
got Genesis 32, where Jacob wrestles with a man. What's going on in some of these stories with Jacob?
Yeah. Yeah. Jacob. Yeah. Jacob's a really interesting story. I mean, you read the early life of Jacob in the home, and he's really a schemer. He's a cheat. I mean, Yaakov, his name, heel clutcher, can't have that meaning, and he swindles his brother out of the birthright, because Esau's the oldest son, and then he deceives his father, um, to get the blessing. So he's got both the birthright and the blessing, which both of those are very important for the inheritance. And and Esau hates him so much that he wants to kill him, and he's going to wait till his father dies. Well, Rebecca sees that you've got to send Jacob away, um, because of the conflict in the family. Plus, Esau's marrying these women who are not, part of the godly line, and so they're going to send Jacob back to Haran, to the home base, to find someone like they did with Isaac. And Jacob, the problem with Jacob is his character. I mean, he's a schemer, he's a cheater. And God has to work on him to bring him to a place where he'll no longer be scheming to get what he thinks he wants, but he will become a prayerful man of faith. That begins in as he leaves, and he sleeps, and he has a dream, and in this dream there's a ladder going from earth to heaven, and God's above the ladder, and angels are ascending and descending on the ladder, and God reaffirms his promises to Jacob, those promises that God had given to Abraham. And so Jacob now goes with those promises, and he wakes up in the morning, and he realizes something has taken place, and he realizes that the presence of God is in this place, um, and he names that place Bethel. So that was very, very significant at the beginning of his journey. Now it's more of a journey of faith with the promises of God, and God brings Jacob to a place where he can do nothing but trust God. Part of that is through his marriage to these two women, and all of the conflict that goes on between the wives. Um, we won't have to get into that, but it culminates in the fact that Esau's coming to meet him, and Jacob has no idea how Esau is going to treat him. Last time he talked to Jacob, he was very, very mad at him. And so Jacob still is planning, but the planning is not a scheming, because there's a prayer there before he meets with Esau that shows his changed heart. And the night before he's going to meet with Esau, is when he has this wrestling match with an individual who's called a man, but as you read the story, you realize it's more than a man. Um, Jacob even says, I've seen God face to face. And this man has the power to touch Jacob's hip and dislocate it. Now, the strange thing is, if it's more than a man, and if it's God himself, Jacob prevails in this wrestling match to some degree. Um, and my explanation of that is that God limits himself in this wrestling with Jacob. Of course, God is appearing there as a human being, um, so that Jacob will continue to sort of continue the fight and pursue God now, like he pursued other things. I mean, he's very zealous in pursuing other things, and now he's pursuing God, and asks God for a blessing, and God changes his name from Jacob, cheat, to someone who has striven with God and prevailed. But I think it is indication of the change of Jacob's character, And it's one of those interesting Old Testament stories where there's a lot that I'm not sure I completely
Mm.
understand what's going on there, but it does seem to be a man who's appearing to Jacob who is really God himself.
And do you relate Jacob's dream to John 1, where Jesus says, "You will see angels ascending and
Yes.
descending on the Son of Man"?
Yes, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Jesus meets with Nathaniel and tells Nathaniel something about what he was doing, and Nathaniel, is taken aback by that and begins to understand that Jesus is more than just a human being. And Jesus says to him, "Well, you will see greater things than these. You will see something." He says something like, I've got it right here. He says, "You will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." And what Jacob understood back in Genesis 28, the presence of God was in that place. That dream signified that, and I think he even understood and felt that. Well, now this bridge between earth and heaven is not just a ladder, but it's Christ Himself, who is the one who is going to bring the full presence of God, the full reality of the presence of God, and be the mediator who will be the one who will stand in the gap, if you will, between humanity and God.